Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello. It's John and Michelle with Sunday night Satsang.
We're back from the lake.
Yeah, we went touring today. We went to go and check to see if Cape Town's got any water. So we went to Kloof, which is Cape Town's biggest reservoir. And we found it full. Not only did we find it full, we found it overfull. Well overfull.
So amazing.
I'm amazed that the City Council still sees it fit to keep us under level 3 water restrictions. Rather weird. Rather weird.
A little weird.
Yeah. Anyway, we had a beautiful drive through the mountains today, and here we are back in Cape Town, and we're ready to chat to you. And we love our Sunday satsangs. And tonight we're going to be, Michelle's going to be sharing some very important astrology with us this evening. We're going through a very challenging time.
Rocky, I would say.
Rocky time.
Just a tad.
Yeah. The next couple of months. And then we're going to be looking at authentic communication. What is authentic communication? And how can we communicate more authentically? So we're going to be doing that this evening. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for all the hearts. We love getting all the hearts. And we love knowing where you're from. So if you want to just type us a note there and tell us where you're watching from. And one thing, please, can you like and share this? It really helps get the video to go viral.
Yeah,
so,
otherwise nobody sees it.
Yeah, so if you can, just press the like button and share the video to your friends on your timeline, and then it goes out to a greater number, and Facebook monitor it, and if it starts to get shared, then they share it. Otherwise they don't share it. They're actually constricted.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone. Hopefully you've had a beautiful weekend. Lovely weather here in Cape Town, and hopefully wherever you are, the weather's beautiful. In fact, the weather can only be beautiful. It doesn't matter whether it's beautiful rain, lovely rain. I mean, isn't that beautiful? If it's windy, it's beautiful wind. If it's sunny, it's beautiful sunny. Maybe it's even snowing where you are. That's beautiful as well. Whatever the weather is, it's beautiful. I know one of the astronauts, when he came back from the moon, and he was saying he just would sit in nature and just marvel at the weather and say, it's such a privilege to have weather, to have the movement of air in clouds, which you don't get on the moon. So yeah, we can appreciate all types of weather. They all have their role and their purpose. Right, so we're going to start this evening the way we always do, and that's by bringing our mind away from the stories in our head, away from all other times and all other places, and just come centered back into reality. And despite what your mind says, reality is only ever now. It's this moment. This is real. This is the moment that you can touch and taste and really directly appreciate, not through the filters of memory or anticipation, but directly with your senses here and now. So let's just gently maybe shut our eyes, see that you're comfortable wherever you are seated. Seated.
That's a nice word. Seated.
Yeah, well, someone made every word up in our dictionary.
Absolutely.
One time or another.
Just
I've just created a new word. Yeah, seated. So just see that you're comfortable, maybe with some cushions, and gently close your eyes and just center your awareness on reality, on this moment. And we do that by accessing our senses, becoming aware of the sensation of touch, becoming aware of the chair you're sitting on, or the bed, or the floor that you're lying on. Just become aware of that. Become aware of where your feet are right now. Are they pressing on the floor? Become aware of the sensation of touch in your hands. What can they feel right now in this moment? Become aware of the sensation of sight. Maybe behind your eyelids you have some pictures flashing by. Become aware of maybe the dots or the pictures that you can see behind your eyelids. Just become aware of everything you can hear in this moment. You can hear my voice, but what else can you hear? Without labeling or judging, just become aware of the incredible faculty of hearing. Become aware of any tension in your body right now. Scan your body with your awareness. Maybe you want to start in your feet. Move gently up your feet, up your legs, to your knees, your thighs, into your hips, into your torso, and gently up your spine, into your shoulders, down your arms into your hands. Feel the aliveness right now in your hands and your fingers. Maybe you feel life has a warmth, tingling sensation in your hands. Become aware of your neck, your scalp, your forehead. Are you holding any tension in your jaw right now? Just maybe slightly relax your jaw. Your tongue may be slightly resting against your front teeth, touching the top of your palate. Just gently resting. Eyelids feeling heavy. Body completely relaxed. And now let us focus on the most important thing that we need to live, which is the breath. Just take a deep breath in, filling your body, and then blow the air out with a long relaxing sigh out. Take another deep breath in, but this time pushing your diaphragm down, blowing up your tummy, drawing the air right down, and then that beautiful long relaxing releasing out breath. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. And another one, deeper than all of the others, so right down into your diaphragm, pushing your tummy out as you expand your lower abdomen, up into your chest, and then that long, beautiful, relaxing, releasing sigh out. Just sigh everything that no longer serves you. Sigh it out, let it go, let it go, let it go. And now just to let the intelligence called life breathe you. Just let it gently take the in-breath, the pause, the out-breath, and then another pause. Just monitor it though with your awareness. This miracle called breathing that we take for granted. It's with us from the moment we're born until we leave this planet. This energy called life that breathes you, is it separate from you? Is it something other than you? And the answer is no, it is you. Not the conscious part of you, not the subconscious part of you, but rather the superconscious. That part of your true identity that transcends time, transcends physical form, transcends the rationality of your mind. This true intelligence called life that breathes us, that beats our hearts, that digests our food, that enables us to see, to hear, to walk. This intelligence called life is our true authentic being. So just drop down out of your story, out of your mind, and drop into your body and connect with this energy that animates every single metabolic process in our bodies. This energy that enables us to wiggle our fingers. It enables us to pick up things and to walk, to talk. This incredible intelligence that knows how to repair the body if we are in a state of allowing and accepting. If we haven't built up any psychological barriers to life. Life knows what to do. Life does everything perfectly and easily, in flow. So just for a moment or two, relax into the arms of life and allow life to flow through you, unimpeded by any preferences or judgments, any fears or anxieties, any regrets or any guilt. Just allow life in this moment to be exactly as it is. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need even time. It's just here right now, embracing you, running through you. And this energy called life is the energy we call being. So for a moment or two, just drop down into being. No doing required, just being. And let the being become aware of your body, become aware of listening, become aware of breathing. Become aware of the stillness and the silence and the joy and the gratitude contained within this moment here and now. And notice the ease that is contained within just this moment here and now. Feel your heart opening and embracing all of life with no separation, no resistance. Now take a deep breath in, blowing your tummy up once more and up into your chest, filling your whole body. And then a beautiful, long, relaxing sigh out. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. And gently, when you're ready, you may open your eyes. And as you do so, remain focused in your body. And just monitor how your body feels in this moment. How do you feel right now? A bit more relaxed, a bit more calm, a bit more centered, a bit more loving. Good. Thank you. Just type up in the little box here and let us know how you feel.
Thanks, that was lovely, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you again. We love our Sunday evenings with you. We've got a little community that seems to be forming here. So thank you for dedicating some time to spend with us and to spend with yourself, more importantly. So shall I just give them a little update on what's going on astrologically?
Yeah, so we can all make sense of our lives. We want to know what's going on here.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I think for a lot of people, a lot of challenges are going on at the moment. In all areas of life, hey? It doesn't seem to be one area of life. It's all sorts of areas. People are taking a bit of strain. So let's just see what the stars can tell us.
Yeah. So we have a full moon coming up later on in the week on the 16th. But before then, we have the good old favorite Mercury going retrograde. So for those of you who do know a little bit about astrology, you'll know that everybody sort of gets all nervous when Mercury goes retrograde.
Well, isn't that what you tell me to back up my computer when Mercury goes retrograde? Because
I do.
Communication goes a bit wonky.
Tends to.
Okay,
so
back
Mercury,
up your computers.
Yeah, so Mercury is the planet of communication, and 3 times a year he goes retrograde, which means that from our perspective on Earth, it looks like he's going backwards. So it slows down, basically. And because it's the planet of communication, there's often mishaps with communication. There's many different layers to a retrograde cycle, and it's not ever just about one thing. So when people get into a frothy about Mercury retrograde, I always kind of look to see what else is going on, because it's not really enough to just look at one thing. But this one is a little bit more intense than most in terms of retrograde cycles. So first of all, retrograde energy is that looking back. It's a time basically 3 times a year when he goes retrograde to look back, to reflect, to review, to reassess, particularly what we're thinking, how we're communicating, because it's the planet of communication. Now, while that happens, very often there tend to be misunderstandings, disagreements, where you just aren't on the same page, or somebody's trying to get their message across and somebody's not listening. So generally that's a Mercury retrograde thing. In addition to that, because we live in such a techno age, we generally have tech issues as well. So very often, I get clients phoning me going crazy because their computer's crashed, or their cell phone got stolen with all their contacts on it, or things like that. So it's always a good idea to check those things and back them up before, just to avoid all those inconveniences. And also if you're doing travel plans, which not many of us are doing international travel, But if you're planning to travel locally, then it's a good idea to check those travel plans as well. And also any legal documents that you're signing, make sure that you've read them properly. So some people will say don't sign anything over Mercury retrograde. That's not possible for a lot of people, for most of us. So it's just to be a little bit more sort of have a look at it, read it, get somebody else to read it as well. So those are general Mercury retrograde things. What's happening this time though is Mercury's retrograde in the sign of Scorpio, which is deep. Scorpio is a water sign. It's a deep water sign. So when anything's in Scorpio, any of the personal planets are in Scorpio, there's a tendency to actually deepen our communication if it's Mercury. And during this retrograde cycle, there's a good chance that unconscious stuff will come up to the surface. Now, we've been speaking about this all year because we've got this Pluto transit. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. That's how it works in astrology. Everything's connected. So unconscious patterns might come up. So those pain bodies, those parts of you that you thought were neatly stashed away, sorted out with a little red button bow and put away, might just surface when you least expect it. You might even have found that happening in the last week or so. In addition to Mercury retrograde, we've got Mars retrograde in Aries, which is a fire sign. It's aggressive, it's assertive, it's impatient. So with those kinds of energies, we just need to be conscious that old stuff and I'm going to say unconscious stuff is actually coming up to the surface. So we really need to exercise patience, especially in our relationships and in our communications with ourselves and everybody else, which we're going to talk about. So we might find that we're a little bit more heightened, our emotions are a bit heightened, we might be more defensive, we might be more paranoid. In addition to that, with this Mercury Scorpio, it looks like globally there are going to be quite a lot of more secrets, more skeletons coming out of the closet, more things being revealed. So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be very interesting because this Mercury retrograde finishes on the election day in America. The last time that they had a Mercury retrograde finishing on election day was when Al Gore was up against George Bush, and Al Gore had the popular vote and he lost at the last minute. And there was all sorts of confusion about the voting and all that. There was a big thing about it. So most astrologers are saying it's very likely to be that kind of thing where they've got the mail votes now with the COVID thing, and so it looks like it's going to be a bit of a hash, actually. So we'll see how that happens or what goes on there.
It'll be fun
anyway.
There's
likely to be some hijinks and frustration and confusion there. So really it's the other thing as well, just as to add a little bit more, is this Mercury retrograde is opposing the planet of change, which is Uranus, which will usually bring in sort of unexpected stuff, surprises. That could be a good thing. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also that rebellious energy. So together with this Mars and everything being triggered that's been there all year, it's really a time where there's this push-pull energy. We want to fight for our rights. We don't feel heard. So it's all very much explaining what we're feeling right now. And I think that one of the big things that we need to do is really be cognizant of how we're communicating over the next few weeks. Forever, really. But especially over the next few weeks, because there are likely to be some explosions.
Well, that sounds like fun and games, doesn't it?
Some fun.
I think you better make an appointment with your therapist right now.
Or just spend some quality time just being before you say something.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
That's it, really.
I think. Hey? Take a few deep breaths.
Take a few deep breaths before you respond.
Before you engage.
Yeah.
Or try and explain your situation to someone. Or try and explain why they might be right or wrong and you right or wrong.
Well, it's never them being right. It's always me being right and they being wrong.
Yeah. So that's it from the astrology. There's lots more, but that's...
So we want to know from you, astrologer, who's going to win the American election.
No idea.
I tell you what, it won't be the people in America. They won't win the election.
No.
Not at all. The elections are not about the people winning ever.
Another interesting thing, just when it comes to mind, is that we received a little notification on WhatsApp earlier about a protest taking place tomorrow at 4 o'clock our time, South African time. And it's a type of protest that I like. It's a protest not of going and becoming aggressive in anything out there. It's a case of taking 20 minutes of stillness, of silence. And so that's something that I will support. And so South African time tomorrow, 4 o'clock until 20 past 4.
Yeah.
The idea is to switch off all your electrical appliances, switch off your cell phone, switch off everything. Everything gets switched off. And I would suggest you use those 20 minutes to go into deep meditation and focus on your heart chakra. Focus on connecting yourself with every single 7.7 billion human beings on earth. No one excluded. Not even your worst enemy excluded. And so if you can spend 20 minutes in stillness and connecting with love and light tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I will support that. That's the type of protest I think we need to have more of.
Yeah.
And I think that will definitely shift the energies on earth. So
yeah, more people the better. Hey?
yeah. And if you can share that with your friends, just get the word out there. 4 o'clock tomorrow till 20 past 4. I don't know who's organised it. I don't know if it's a big event or not. I just
Doesn't
saw it
matter.
this afternoon. But
All helps.
yeah, it only takes one person to shift for the whole to shift, because we're built holographically. As we change, the world changes.
Yeah, we're all connected.
Yeah.
We're connected to everything out there, including the planets, and we're connected to every single person and everything we see in front of us. We're in relationship with everything all the time. All the time. And this month's the month of relationships, astrologically. So we are really in relationship, and we're going to look at those relationships this month. The relationship we have with ourselves, the relationship we have with our bodies, with our planet, with each other, with our so-called enemies, with our thoughts.
You have to know that if one star was slightly different in the universe, then you would be different.
Yeah.
We are so interconnected. We see ourselves with our rational mind as something finite in time and space, something separate. And, I use the acronym of FEAR, false evidence appearing real. And fear is a sense of separation, and that lives inside our rational thinking mind. It doesn't seem so rational most of the time, this fear base. But it's about separation. It's about me, the little me and mine and my family. And that sense of separation is just not true. When you look at quantum physics, and if you've ever taken magic mushrooms or ayahuasca, not that I recommend any of that, I've never done it myself, but I know that people who have that direct perception of oneness. They are one with the environment, with the trees, with everyone else, and our energies are all interconnected. So it's to know that you're not separate, and as you shift your energy, you shift the whole of humanity's energy. That's how important you are. And right now we can choose between whether we focus on the fear base of vibration or love. And I think over the next 5-6 weeks, it's really, really important that we start to feel that sense of connection, which is love. And that brings us to the subject tonight, authentic communication.
I just want to share something that we were listening today, actually. We were listening to Alan Watts on our little trip. And he was talking about, imagine, it was really a beautiful image. I love imagery. And he said, if you picture a spider web with little dewdrops on it, millions and millions of dewdrops, and each of those dewdrops reflects each of the other dewdrops, that's kind of like what we are. That's sort of that intertwined web of energy that I am reflected in you, you are reflected in me, and we're all reflected in each other. It was just such a strong image that if you look in each single one, because it's reflecting not only the one next to it, but all the ones in the background as well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's right. Yeah.
And so if something pulls on this end of that spider's web, it has an effect on the other side. And so we are total mirrors to each other, all of us.
Yeah.
And we're all connected, we're not separate.
Yeah. And that sense of connection, again, is the definition that I have for love. Love is your sense of oneness, your sense of connection.
Yeah.
And that is love. That is love.
Yeah.
That's love. Where fear is your sense of disconnection, of separation.
Yeah.
So authentic communication. Yeah, that's an interesting one. But before we even go into the part of communication, which is what people obviously want, what is this authentic part about?
Exactly. Good question. What is
What is
authentic?
Now, I would say that unless you start to realize your authentic self, how can you communicate authentically? Because you're not communicating from your authentic self when you communicate from your needy, egoic based identity, are you? That's not really authentic. It can't be authentic. So the first part in this, and which is a bit of what's going to help you through the next 5-6 weeks, is to step back into your authentic self. Now, when we say authentic self, it's your being. Your being is your true self, which we did in the meditation. We step back into being, and I used 2 words to describe that, and being one of them. The other word I used to describe it was life. Step back into the real essence of life that you are. That's your authentic self. Your authentic self is being. Most people only know themselves as a doing. I am a doing, and I do good stuff and I do bad stuff, and that's not your authentic self. That's a radiation coming from you, in the same way that you have a body, you have a car, you have a home, you have whatever. But who's doing the having? Who's doing the doing? That is your authentic self, and it's the being. So in order to communicate, you have to first of all start to honor your authentic self. If you do not honor your authentic self, then you will not communicate from your authentic self.
Then you have to know what that is if you want to honor it.
Yeah, and that is the stillness. So it's really important over the next 4 or 5 weeks that we start honoring meditation. Meditation just means no mind. It means coming to stillness. You can use different aspects of meditation. You can do mantra, you can do guided visualizations, you can light candles and burn incense,
Spend time
you can
in nature,
ring gongs and
do art.
do all that. That's all those are aspects. But true meditation is just being. And you can be even while you're doing. While you're walking, while you're talking, while you're working, you can be in meditation. You can be in your authentic self. And when you start to live your life from this beingness, then your communication takes on a whole new level, because you're not trying to defend the egoic self anymore. You're not trying to protect the egoic self. You're not trying to get more for the egoic self. There's no need in that communication. You let go of that need, because your authentic self is not a needy self. It's a self that is infinite. It's a self that can't be threatened. It's a self that doesn't die. It's a self that was never born. That's the real self. And when you start to know that, which is the quietness within you, which is the stillness within you, and when you communicate from that stillness, the quality of your communication changes immensely. And that just add one thing on that, is that part of communication surely is listening, is it not? Communication
is the most important part of communication.
It's sending some sort of message out with your body or with sound waves, but you're sending some sort of message out, typing it out or whatever. But the other part is being receptive to receive the response from whoever you're communicating with. And that takes stillness. And it's to remember that true stillness is your true being that is able to transmit the communication. But true stillness is listening, because unless you're still, you can't really hear. So stillness is really the primary attribute if we want authentic communication. Come from that place of stillness.
Yeah, and I'd say this has never been more true than right now on this planet, is to actually go into that place as often as you can, because that's from that place you can then respond rather than react. And if you're coming from that place, you are realizing and knowing and seeing. I love John's what do you call it when you say real eyes, realizing, you're seeing with real eyes that you are connected to everything. When you're actually coming from that place of oneness and unity, you're not going to defend as much. You're not going to be in your ego. You're not necessarily going to try and speak over the person, because you are connected. You're connecting at a different level. So it shifts it completely, because a lot of the time that we communicate, we are speaking over people, and we're not listening at all. We're just waiting to get the next thing that we want to say. And especially now, because people have got a hell of a lot of different opinions about what's going on our planet. And people are not in agreement. And you'll find a situation where the one person knows they're right, and I'm definitely right, and you're definitely wrong. And this is a time where we need to hold the possibilities of both and all, because we don't know. I know what I know to be true for myself, but I don't know that that's true for you. So it's one of those situations where we actually have to hold the space for someone to have a different opinion to us. Or we don't have to, but if we don't, that's when the suffering comes, because that's when the fireworks happen.
And how do we hold that space for the other to communicate in? Well, when you realize that true communication is stillness. True communication is stillness. So if you want to add something, add your stillness. And that's not that, that closing down stillness. That's not that silent treatment. That's not the stillness I'm talking about. No. I'm talking about the loving stillness, the openness stillness, not the closed stillness, but the embracing stillness. When you communicate with stillness, it's amazing what happens. Amazing the miracles that start to happen. And, Michelle mentioned when you realize, when you have a realization, you start to see with real eyes. That's really what it is. But look at that way of working with words. If you in an intimate relationship or even a work relationship, you're actually physically with someone. I teach public speaking, and one of the most important points in public speaking is making eye contact, making proper, authentic eye contact with your audience or whoever you're speaking to. Because the eyes are the windows of the soul. And when you communicate from the soul, that's your authentic self. So even if you're typing an email or you're on the phone and you don't have visual contact with them, speak from your soul. If you do that, that is the real eyes. Then you're looking through the windows of your soul, and your soul is connecting directly with their soul. And one of the things that blocks that is this one-upmanship. The roles that we play. I am your father, or I am your mother, and therefore you must listen to me. I am your superior at work. Better. I know better, and that just blocks true communication. Why must we communicate from the position of a role? Just communicate from your authentic being. Don't play the roles. Don't play, I am the doctor, therefore I know what is right. No, you don't. Just talk from a human being. And become open to your own vulnerability, because we all are vulnerable. People who take very strong positions take those positions because inside they feel very vulnerable. And it's their vulnerability that comes out of this hardness and breaks the real authentic communication. Authentic communication comes from being open and vulnerable.
Yeah. Honest vulnerability is the way to actually mend huge divisions between people. When you can actually look into someone's eyes and say, this is how I'm feeling. There's no blame, it's just, this is how I'm feeling right now. And that breaks through barriers that no amount of clever talking can do. Just that. Very often in our workshops, we spend time looking into each other's eyes, and it's the most profound part of a workshop, because there doesn't need to be any words. And I've done that so many times where people have said, I learned more about that person in that few minutes than I could ever have known if I'd spent 24 hours a day with them for a month. I learned more about them just from looking in their eyes. So if you're having an issue with someone, if you can slow down and just soften into the moment, into this moment, and look at each other with soft eyes, it'll take away all the angst. In that moment, it'll take it away. Even if the person's angry, if you're not giving them back what they're what they're throwing at you, and you can actually be present enough to actually just be a space, hold the space, it'll usually diffuse.
Yeah, and it's also, the softening the eyes, but soft eyes comes from a soft heart.
Yeah.
So just think back into this openness. And just, if you can just remember what I said earlier, that you are that which doesn't need protection. Your ego needs protection. Your identity, your body needs protection. But you don't. Those are things you have. And they're going to come and they're going to go. But you don't need that. You are real. Your authentic self doesn't need protection in any way at all. And that is a softening. That's the opening. And that'll soften your eyes. It'll also soften your approach, how you approach them from a mental perspective, from a psychological perspective. That will soften. Love is like water. Water is very, very soft, isn't it? Very, very soft, very forgiving. And yet it's the hardest element. Very, very powerful. I mean, it'll wear away granite.
It's the most powerful element, actually.
Yeah. But it does it in its softness, in its vulnerability. That's where its strength lies. Something that's very hard tends to be very brittle. And people who are very hard are very brittle. Something comes along and they crack and they break. Where a willow tree, for example, doesn't crack and doesn't break. It flows with the wind. It's flexible. Water doesn't break. You can't break water because it's flexible and flowing. And if that is your true, and that is your true authentic self, and if you come from that, then you can't be broken. People often, one of the trick questions I ask, on a workshop is, who's had their hearts broken? And everyone puts up their hands. And I say, no, your heart has never been broken. Your perspective, your expectation, your ideas, that was what got broken. They were rigid and they got smashed. But your heart, no. You felt the pain of that illusion, that disillusionment, which is the result of all illusion. You felt that pain in your heart, and so the heart took the pain. But the heart wasn't actually broken. What was broken was your mind and your expectations and the shoulds and the coulds and the ought to haves. That's that dream that you had that gets broken, but not your heart, because it's open, it's flexible, it's fluid, like water. And in fact, aren't we dealing with water from a Scorpio point of view?
Yeah, that's Mercury and Scorpio. It's exactly that. That's what we talk. That's why it's Mercury and Scorpio is authentic, deep, meaningful conversation, meaningful communication, meaningful connection, which might not be in words. It's that heart-based communication. We can be more intuitive at that time because water is a very intuitive. We absorb stuff from other people. We feel other people's pain without them having to say anything, which is why the eye thing is so amazing, because you don't have to say anything. If you really look into somebody's eyes, you'll see what's there. And very often we don't know how we're feeling. I think very often we've been conditioned in our childhoods and that to not be honest and not be authentic. So as a child, if you sort of say, I'm fantastic, it might be that a parent says, stop being such a brag. And in that moment, you get the message that, I can't say that. I can't think well of myself, for example, or pleasing other people, doing things to please, saying things to please. How often are we able to actually just be authentic and to say no or yes, this is what's happening for me? Most of the time, we're not. Most of the time, we are saying what we think somebody else wants us to hear. And that's the issue, because that causes the problems later on in that relationship with that person. Because suddenly, you've got this person who's always said yes to everything, and suddenly the person goes kaboom and freaks out. We knew this couple years ago, and they got married, and they were literally the perfect couple. I mean, they had everything. They had looks, they had money, they had the whole thing. And my husband at the time said, well, they're a perfect couple. And I said, they're too perfect. That was my cynical side coming out. And it took 2 weeks, and their marriage came to an end because she had tried to be perfect. And one morning over breakfast, there was some issue with the child, a stepchild, and yogurt was thrown across the room, followed by a few expletives. And that was the end of that relationship, because it had been built on
Inauthenticity.
inauthenticity. She had never been authentic. And suddenly it was, who is this woman? She's mad. So authentic communication is really important for any, and we aren't. And I think that this is part of our journey this year, is to really find out, like, where am I actually authentic and where am I inauthentic? And where am I saying things which I really don't, which really are not true for me? But I'm saying it because I think that that's what I should say. Or that's how I'm going to get more love. Or that's how I'm going to get more acceptance.
So it's quite easy to tell if you're speaking from your authentic self or your inauthentic self. Your authentic self is being, which is love. Anything that is being communicated that isn't coming from love is not coming from your authentic self. It cannot. Because love can only give love. Even in business, we've been speaking about as if it's an intimate communication, but what about business? Yes, communicate in business from your authentic self, not from the corporate policy that's been written out in fear. Speak authentically. And if you can't express yourself authentically within that corporate environment or your work environment, leave. Don't sell your soul to the corporate. Leave. Trust that life will meet your needs. You do not need to live your life inauthentically for a corporation so that you can get paid at the end of the month. That is doing so much damage, not only to yourself, not only to your soul, but also to the souls of many, many people that interaction, that corporation serves. Be authentic, even at work. Speak from love. Speak from your truth. Your truth is beingness. Speak from there. Not from this egoic identity, I am this and that, and therefore, no. Come from your vulnerability. Come from your innocence. Let innocence speak through you, authentically. Express how you feel, authentically. Don't be afraid. There's two energies again, there's love and there's fear. And more than ever before, we need to speak from love. We need to stand on the platform of love and come from that platform of love 24/7.
Yeah, I agree. One of the ways of doing this in any kind of relationship that we found really useful, and that's in personal relationships, business relationships, whatever, is to actually just check in with each other and just listen. So the one person speaks. The only rule is that while one person's speaking, the other person doesn't speak at all. Not even to say, oh, I get it, or yes, nothing. You just sit there and listen. You can nod your head if you like. That's it. And if there's an awkward silence, then you let there be an awkward silence. And you let the person speak for as long as they need to speak, or you can put a timer on or whatever. And then when they're finished, you can take a few deep breaths and you can speak. Not in response to what they're saying, just what's coming up for you. And then at the end of that, you don't speak anymore. You don't then go into an argument about, you said this and I said that, and now we can actually have this big Bonnie. You just leave it there. So you've actually said what you need to say. Not in a blaming way, just this is where I'm at. I feel this way. This is what's going on for me. And it's amazing what happens, because when you do that, the other person doesn't start assuming. Because that's a huge problem in relationships, even with our work colleagues, is one person's in a bad mood and you assume that I've done something wrong. Why is John ignoring me? I must have done something wrong. And that sets up a whole dynamic. Whereas if you've had a check-in, John's just had an off day, he didn't sleep well. He told us.
I never don't sleep well.
I know that. He doesn't. He always sleeps well. But, that's what it is. It's that, it's checking in so that you don't assume. Because the assumptions actually cause the confusion in communication.
And that's when you come from the head is making assumptions. Yeah. The heart never makes assumptions, it just speaks authentically. It's an openness. And just to come back to the point we made earlier, that it is stillness that's authentic. When you listen in stillness and speak from a platform of stillness. That's authentic communication. And I'm just going to go back a little bit. You said about someone saying how marvelous they were and their parents maybe putting them down. And, you know, if the ego thinks it's marvelous, well, there is a problem there. You know, that's egotistical. But each one of you listening to this, you are magnificent. You are the all that is. You are absolutely perfect. Not your personality, not your mind, not your body, not the ideas you have about yourself, but that beingness that's in you is perfect. And how do I know that? Because it's the same beingness in me, and the beingness in me is perfect. Therefore, the beingness in you is also perfect. And when you start to see that in the other, when you start to see the perfection in them, yes, they have these coatings on the outside of imperfection, of egoic identity and things like that. But beneath that, the beingness that's in you is also in them. They are another you. They're another aspect of you. That's that spiderweb analogy of those dewdrops on that spider's web.
Yeah.
Each one reflecting the other one. And when you start to see your own pain in another, that's when empathy and compassion comes in. When you start to see with true eyes, you realize what is really going on in this bad interaction is actually a call for recognition of the love that they are and the love that you are. It's a call for recognition. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to have plenty of time to practice this over the next few weeks, I reckon.
And one of the tools that we can all use as we move through these next few weeks is the breath. Take a deep breath before you respond.
And leave the room if you need to.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is leave the room. You can actually say to somebody, I need to leave the room now.
I need a 5 minutes, 10 minute
5
break
minutes.
or 10-year break, whatever.
If you can feel yourself going into that cycle, into that pain body, into that reaction space, and you don't want to go there, and you want to respond in a heart-based way, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'll see you a little bit later. Let me go and see if I can just be with this and feel the feelings that you're feeling, so that you don't blurt them out if you don't need to.
Yeah,
So
when
that's
we
the
say,
other thing,
you know,
very
we
often.
say express your feelings, express how you're feeling, but don't put them on the other
Express
person.
express it with yourself.
Yeah, so an authentic way of expressing feelings is saying, you know, when you said that to me just now, I felt. Not you made me feel something when you said that. No, when you did that or said that, I felt. And that's open communication, because you're being honest, you're being open, you're being vulnerable in saying that. And it's amazing how the other person's heart softens when you soften.
But even with that, I would say that if there's a heated discussion, don't even try that in a heated discussion. When I say this, you know, when you say this, I feel this way, because it won't necessarily be heard if the heat's there. So to actually step away from the heat, and when the heat is down and the fire's actually settled down a bit, and you're sitting quietly, then this is what I felt. This is what happens when you say this, I feel this way. Then there's likely to actually be an understanding and a connection and a reparation. But when you're in the middle of it, it generally you're not dealing with, as John said, you're not dealing with your authentic person. You're dealing with a defensive pain body. So it doesn't really matter what you say. That pain body is going to have a reaction. So it's to step away. I think we're going to be doing some stepping away in the next few weeks. And just really asking ourselves, what am I actually feeling here? What is this that's coming up for me? And feel it. Just feel, you don't have to answer it. Just let this feeling come up and let it be there. So that it actually starts to flow through you and out. This friend of mine I was speaking to yesterday on the phone, wonderful friend of mine, she said, it's like you're going to burp, and there's this feeling that's coming up. You know that this is coming up for you, so you let it come up and move through you. It's energy moving through you.
So the cure-all here is the space.
Yeah.
To allow the space. the space, the emptiness, is your true authentic self. So bring more space into your communication. Space is quietness, it's listening, it's maybe even physical space. As Michelle said, remove yourself from that particular heated interaction, but bring more space in. And again, just coming back to the one tool that we've always got with us, is breathing. If you take one deep conscious breath, or maybe 3 deep breaths, that is a wonderful tool to open up the space, to allow the dissolvement of that heat, of that personality. So you come back to your authentic self.
Yeah, and this is very powerful time to actually clear some of those conditioned patterns, those conditioned thoughts, by just bringing awareness to them. You know, if you're able to actually step away and just be quiet and say, what is this feeling? Feel the feeling. And then, you know, what am I thinking about? And is it true? You can go there at this moment. That's what Scorpio is about. It's a little bit of investigator. Just see what's there. Yeah, that's actually underneath my reaction there. There's actually fear. Or underneath that, there's pain, there's hurt, there's insecurity. And that's what we can actually, we have responsibility for. Actually feeling those feelings, so we can actually bring them through us like the water, the Scorpio, which is sort of sucking it up from the underground and cleaning those pipes out. So it's a powerful time, there's no doubt about it.
And a very opportune time to find that authentic self, to find which part of you needs to defend itself, and which part of you doesn't need to defend itself. The part of you that doesn't need to defend itself is your authentic self. The part that needs to protect, strategize, defend, that's the inauthentic part of yourself. So it's a wonderful time now for that, what are called a delamination of your awareness, which is your authentic self, from the mind, the personality, the thingness about yourself, the personality,
Yeah, so hopefully that's helped a bit.
Yeah, hopefully you've got some guidance there for the next few weeks, which may be stormy waters for some people in certain ways.
Or could be very powerful, very powerful, transformative energy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be stormy.
Yeah.
And just remember, there can be lots of storms outside. You don't have to be part of the storm. You can be in the center of the storm.
Yeah, even when the storm is raging, come into the center.
You don't have to join it. You don't have to jump into the pot with everybody else.
Yeah.
So I think that it's constantly reminding ourselves of that, because it is stormy out there.
Yeah.
So just to know that you don't have to actually join in and get stirred up with everybody else.
You step back into your center, which is, again, the stillness, the quietness, the stillness. And if you need any help at all, we are available for one-on-one counseling. You can always message us and make an appointment with us.
Absolutely.
So let's ask Michelle to lead us out with a meditation.
Yes, and just before we do that, we are running a workshop in Stellenbosch. When's it? Next weekend?
Not this weekend, the weekend of 24th, 25th.
Yeah,
If any of you want to join us in person and experience Michelle's lovely process art and some teachings, 2 days, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Beautiful venue. Life Shine Clinic is a beautiful,
very connecting weekend.
Yeah, and just give us a shout and we'll send you the information for that. So it's our first live workshop that we're going to be doing for many months. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'll take you out. I'm going to lean forward. I don't know if they can hear me clearly. We're going to just put this mic in because my voice is soft.
Do you want to just switch that on?
Yeah. Okay, so just settle down, settle in.
Into your authentic self, which is your stillness self, which is your real self. Just come into your body.
Take a lovely deep breath in. And a releasing, relaxing breath out. Let it all go. With each out breath, just release that which you do not need in this moment. Breathing in, deep breath in, and a slow, calm, beautiful breath out. And as you breathe out, drop your shoulders, Then back a little bit, open your heart. Just connecting with your breath, coming in through the nostrils and exhaling to release. And acknowledging that this breath is so precious. And it's the anchor that we hold and have every moment of every day. That which can bring us straight back to our authentic selves, to our true selves, to the truth. Just imagine a beautiful white light streaming in from above your head, flowing in through your head, clearing out what it no longer needs. Allow that beautiful light, let's make it a liquid light, liquid mother of pearl, how about that? Liquid mother of pearl light coming in through the top of your head, clearing away, nurturing, nourishing, washing through everything you don't need to carry in your head, softening the little muscles next to your eyes, on either side of your eyes, muscles in your nose, mouth, relaxing your jaw. Bring that light down now through your body. Send it to a place in your body which you believe needs it the most. It could be a place where you're having a physical issue, or it could just be a place that really calls you. Just choose a place intuitively and send this beautiful, loving, feminine, nurturing, pearlescent, milky energy, this healing balm right into that place. Let it fill that place in your body, clearing what no longer needs to be there. Allowing whatever comes up for you that needs clearing, imagine it just washing right down through your body, into your feet and down into the ground. Clearing spaces, taking away what's no longer needed. Softening the rigidity that you might carry in your body. Clearing away those rigid thought patterns. Clearing away the fear. And filling you, that area of your body, allow it to now fill up your whole body. Let it just move throughout your body to every single part of your body. And just see this as a loving, beautiful energy that you're just shining all the way through your body. Allow it to flow everywhere. Allow it to flow into your heart. And from your heart, send that beautiful energy. Just allow it to radiate out of you. Bring your attention back to your breath. Feel how you feel in your body right now. Feel the presence. Feel the stillness. Feel the peace in this moment. Feel the love in this moment. Feel the connection. And now take a deep breath in. And a releasing breath out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Wasn't that beautiful? Isn't that lovely? We're all centered now for our new week. We're more able to ride the waves, center in the storm. We're going to give you an affirmation for the week coming. Would you like an affirmation? Here we go. And by the way, if you enjoyed this evening, please like and share it. It really does help get this message out. Just press the like button and share it with your friends. So we're going to choose an affirmation card. We've got a whole pack here. You're going to choose one. A blue. Blue is communication. Water. Throat chakra.
I let go of emotional resistance and allow life to flow as it is. That's pretty apt.
That's beautiful. I let go of emotional resistance and allow life to flow as it is. It's a wonderful affirmation for the week. Blue, throat chakra. This is what we're going to be working with for the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'll photograph that and I'll put that up on the Facebook page. And also we have a WhatsApp group, especially for Journeys of Awakening.
Yeah.
It's you can join via our website, journeysofawakening.com. There's the link for the WhatsApp group, and I'll post that as well. We post inspiration and support on our WhatsApp group as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, and we really do bless you for a new week, and may you be centered, and may you be authentic.
Yes. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.